What's going on, people? What's going on? New day of boxing. I got a form question for y'all. Something I did my rant on, and now currently having a debate with somebody, and I just want to fill people in on this debate. Now, I've been having a debate about Brandon Rios. Yes, Brandon Rios' names keeps coming up. I don't know why. My argument is that the person I'm having a debate with is more of a Brandon Rios fan than a boxing fan. It's a difference. When you are a fan of a boxer, you're sometimes blinded as a fan of that boxer to what's really going on when it comes to what's happening in the ring as far as that boxer is concerned. Because you're playing favoritism. Me, I don't play favoritism because I just don't care. Really. I love the sport, but to hug somebody's jockstrap, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like I said before, I'm a fan of I like to watch Juan Marquez fights, but that's as far as it goes. I like to see him as a technician in the ring. Do it go any further than that? No. At the end of the day, I still look at it objectively. What happened in that match? So let's get to this Brandon Rios. Now, I put some names out there saying a bunch of people would beat Brandon Rios. I said Adrian Broner would beat Brandon Rios. I said Eric Morales could probably beat Brandon Rios. I said Danny Garcia could probably beat him. I said Lucas Matisse would probably knock him out, and so on and so forth. Well, this person tried to use Mike Alvarado as an excuse to say, well, that was Brandon Rios' coming out party. Well, let's break this down. For the length of that fight, Brandon Rios was outboxed. Literally, he was outboxed in that fight. Now, yes, Mike Alvarado came to slug, but if you put to show somebody like Mike Alvarado, who has some boxing ability, some technical boxing ability, still outbox a Brandon Rios, what would a technical boxer do to Brandon Rios? I'll give you an example. And I gave him the same example. I said, Richard Abreu got robbed against Brandon Rios. Got robbed. And his argument was Brandon Rios came in fatigued from being drained. He was no longer in that weight class. He was fatigued, and Abreu kept holding. You said Abreu? No, let me clarify. He said Abreu could use his boxing ability on the outside, but when Brandon Rios got close, he started holding. That's slick boxing. And I would say that's slick boxing because that just happened in another fight not too long ago. Let's talk Carlos Molina versus James Kirkland. Carlos Molina established his jab, stayed on the outside, and every time Kirkland tried to take it inside, Carlos Molina wrapped him up. That's slick boxing. You put a brawler in the ring with a slick boxer, you see what happens. Well, he also argued Eric Morales is fat and overweight and he's old, and that's why Danny Garcia couldn't still handle him. Well, Eric Morales is a very intelligent boxer. And he was in a fight with another boxer. It wasn't like Eric Morales was fighting a brawler and vice versa. It wasn't like Danny Garcia was fighting a brawler. And I use another example. Think about Eric Morales versus uh, Marcos Mendana. Yes, Marcos Mendana was able to land some punches, but at the same time, Eric Morales was able to pull that fight out. Why? Because a boxer was in the ring with a brawler. Hands down. What is Marcos Mendana doing now? He hooked up with Robert Garcia to complete his game because he was nothing but a brawler. To complete his brawler with a knockout punch, he went to Robert Garcia, humbled, and said, "Teach me how to box." And if you look back on Marcos Mendana's last fight, he started using the jab for the first time in his career. He was trying to slip punches. He tried to counterpunch. He tried to become a complete boxer that can brawl when needed. And it helped him in that fight. This is boxing. Brawlers don't necessarily... Brawlers has a puncher's chance. Brawlers have a puncher's chance. But that doesn't mean they can outclass a technical boxer. Let's talk about another brawler puncher. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a brawler puncher. And for 12 and a half rounds, for 11 and a half rounds, an actual boxer, I won't say technically because Sergio Martinez is unorthodox, but a skilled boxer, I'll put it that way, who knows how to maneuver rings, who knows ring generalship, who knows how to slip punches, dominated for 11 and a half rounds. Dominated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. for 11 and a half rounds. So let's jump back. Let's talk about Brandon Rios again. Eric Morales is a hell of a lot more technically sound fighter than Brandon Rios. Do Brandon Rios have a chance of knocking out Eric Morales? Yes. But overall, who would Vegas give the edge to in the fight? Eric Morales. What again? Him against Brandon Rios against my boy Juan Manuel Marquez. They'll give it to Marquez because he's more technically sound. What about Danny Garcia? Compared to Brandon Rios, he's a hard puncher who can counterpunch. Yes, he's still young, but he's a hard puncher that can counterpunch. He's still technically more sound. Who would they give the advantage to? I'm going to probably say Brandon Rios would not have the advantage in that fight against Danny Garcia. Now let's get to my last person. No, two of the last people. Adrian Broner, the skill versus will crap will go right back to the Sergio Martinez versus Julio Cesar Chavez, except since Broner was an actual big junior welterweight, super welterweight, they will come in at the same size. Broner would probably knock out Brandon Rios. Probably knock him out. And let's get to my final person. Lucas Matisse, who's a full-fledged junior full-fledged junior welterweight, who's been campaigning in that division for a while, is probably arguably the hardest hitting puncher in the division, who actually has some boxing ability. You put Brandon Rios in with him, a guy who fights like Antonio Margachito, who loves to put his chin out there saying, "You can't hurt me." You hit him and he smiles. Because I think something's wrong with Brandon Rios' head. He's kind of retarded. You put the hardest hitting puncher in that division against Brandon Rios, he would probably knock out Brandon Rios. I don't think that fight will go 12 rounds. That's just my opinion. Brandon Rios is a young, smaller version of Antonio Margachito, who he actually likes as a person, who always put his chin out there, daring you to try to knock him out. Margachito put his chin out there for. I've seen everybody rattle Margarito's chin, but he's a hard-nosed Mexican fighter from Tijuana, and he's just gonna come forward and bang with you. But eventually, he got in the ring with somebody that could bang with him. He got in the ring with Shane Mosley, and for the first time in his career, he got KO'd. I mean, put to sleep. The ref had to step in and say, all right, you didn't hit the canvas once. You about to hit it again. You have no business being in this fight. Shane Mosley will destroy you. You think that would be any different? Then, and Shane Mosley is not really the best technically sound boxer. So you take Brandon Rios, who just stepped up to the junior welterweight division, who is not even a full-fledged junior welterweight yet, and you put him in the ring with somebody who's been campaigning for a while, who's arguably the hardest puncher in the division, and you think Brandon Rios wouldn't get knocked out? That's just crazy. Again, like I said, this is a case of a person being a fan of a boxer more than a fan of boxing. I give Brandon Rios credit. I think he'll beat and knock out Amir Khan. I think he could beat and possibly knock out Lamont Peterson. That's some of the big names in the division. Still, they're not the top people in the division, but at least they're big names in the division. Lucas Matisse is legit. He has 2 losses on his record, which shouldn't be losses, because he dominated. I won't say he dominated. He put Devin Alexander on his butt and scared him in the ring. He put Zab Judah on his butt and scared him on the ring. They ran. Lucas Matisse made him run. They're like, oh, we don't want none of this guy. And shortly after fighting Lucas Matisse, they went up to welterweight. Why? Because that dude is a beast. He's a beast. He's the #1 fighter in the division. And the only way Brandon Rios could ever get that fight is if he does a Amir Khan campaign. Just everywhere he can go. Just go on record. I want Lucas Matisse. I want Lucas Matisse. I will knock him out. I want Lucas Matisse to force Bob Arum's hand. Because Bob Arum knows boxing. He knows a hell of a lot better to put him in the ring with Lucas Matisse. Lucas Matisse would knock him out. But that's just my opinion. I'm a boxing fan. Not a fan of a fighter. But at the same time, this is just my opinion. I want to know what y'all think. What is your opinion on what I'm talking about? Am I right? Am I wrong? I just want more people to weigh in on this topic. Me personally, I think I'm right. But again, that's just my opinion. So let me know what you think. Till the next one, doses.